You are living in a house you do not own, using tools you do not possess, and reading books that can be erased while you sleep. The digital age promised us ultimate freedom, but it delivered a new form of feudalism. You clicked buy now, but you only bought a temporary permission, a lease on a life that can be turned off with a single line of code. They have transformed your property into a service and your independence into a subscription. In the architecture of the algorithm, mine is an obsolete word. You are not a consumer, you are a digital serf, paying a permanent tax for the privilege of existing in their infrastructure. The tech giants are the new lords, and they are reclaiming the territory of your mind. Ownership is dead, control is absolute, and you are still scrolling. Wake up. The concept of mine is being systematically deleted from the human experience. For centuries, ownership was the bedrock of individual sovereignty. If you bought a tool, a book, or a piece of land, that object became an extension of your will. You could fix it, modify it, or pass it down to your children. But in the silent transition to the digital age, that bedrock has turned to sand. We have entered the era of the end of ownership, a carefully engineered shift where every physical and digital asset is being clawed back by the corporations that created them. Look at your phone. You see apps, music, and memories. But you don't own the operating system that runs them. You are merely a guest on a platform that can change the rules while you sleep. This is digital serfdom. In the medieval ages, serfs worked the land they didn't own, giving a portion of their harvest to the lord for the privilege of existing. Today, you work the digital fields of social media and cloud platforms, harvesting your own data and attention, only to pay a monthly subscription fee to access the tools you need to survive in modern society. The everything as a service model is not about convenience. It is about the total commodification of access. It is a trap designed to ensure you never stop paying. When software moved to the cloud, we lost the right to own our tools. When movies moved to streaming, we lost the right to our culture. Even your car is now a collection of locked features waiting for a credit card authorization from a remote server. They have realized that selling you a product once is a failure. Selling you the right to use that product every month forever is the ultimate victory. This is the industrialization of the leash, a world where you have the illusion of choice, but 0% of the equity. We are becoming a society of permanent tenants, drifting in a world where nothing is solid and everything is a ghost. The psychological impact of never owning anything is profound. When your environment is entirely rented, your sense of belonging evaporates. You are living in a temporary simulation, curated by algorithms that prioritize profit over permanence. This is the subscription trap. It's a slow erosion of the human spirit, designed to keep you in a state of perpetual anxiety. If you don't own the roof over your head or the data in your pocket, you have no leverage. You are at the mercy of a terms of service agreement that you never read, but which dictates the boundaries of your reality. We see this in the death of physical media. A bookshelf was once a map of a person's mind, a collection of ideas that couldn't be deleted by a corporate whim. Today, your library is a digital list on a server that could vanish if a licensing deal falls through. We are losing our history because we've traded ownership for convenience. But convenience is a double-edged sword. It makes life easier today, but it makes you powerless tomorrow. The corporations are betting that you'll value the now so much that you'll give up your future autonomy. They call it frictionless living, but friction is what gives life texture. Ownership requires effort, maintenance, and responsibility, things that ground us in the physical world. By removing these, they are detaching us from reality itself. We are becoming ghosts in a machine we don't control, paying for the privilege to haunt our own lives. The goal is a world where even your thoughts are influenced by the services you subscribe to. A total monopoly on the human experience. If we don't reclaim the right to own, we will find ourselves in a future where we are the ones being owned. The final fortress of ownership is not just what you can buy, but what you are allowed to fix. In the old world, if your tractor broke, you picked up a wrench. If your watch stopped, you opened the back. Today, your tools are protected by digital glass walls and software locks. This is the war against the right to repair. The corporations have realized that if they can stop you from maintaining your own property, they can force you into a cycle of perpetual replacement. They use the law to turn your curiosity into a crime. When you open a device you own, you are often violating a licensing agreement you never signed, but which governs the hardware in your hands. This is coupled with the silent assassin of the digital age: planned obsolescence. It's not just that things break, it's that they are designed to expire. A software update that slows down your processor, a battery that is glued into place, a server that is shut down, turning a $1,000 device into a paperweight. They are creating an economy of disposable existence. In a world of subscriptions, durability is a bug, not a feature. If a product lasts forever, the revenue stream stops. Therefore, the machine must ensure that nothing you have is ever permanent. But the most dangerous aspect of this shift is the massive transfer of wealth. Ownership allowed the middle class to build equity. It allowed individuals to accumulate assets that grew in value over time. In a rent-based society, wealth flows in only one direction: up. We are seeing the return of a feudal hierarchy where the lords of the cloud own the infrastructure, and the rest of us pay a permanent toll just across the bridge. You're working harder than ever, but at the end of the month, your balance sheet is empty because you own nothing that generates value. You are merely a conduit for capital, moving money from your paycheck to their servers. This is the ultimate economic trap. When the elite own the assets and the masses own the subscriptions, social mobility dies. You cannot climb a ladder that is made of software you don't control. We are being funneled into a future where ownership becomes the ultimate luxury, a status symbol for the few who can afford to exist outside the subscription grid. The rest will live in a world of flickering lights and temporary access, always one missed payment away from digital non-existence. They aren't just taking your things, they are taking your foundation. And once the foundation is gone, you are no longer a citizen, you are a user, and users are replaceable. The death of ownership is the birth of total surveillance. In the era of the physical object, your relationship with your property was private. What you did with your car, your books, or your tools was your business alone. But a subscription is a live connection, a digital umbilical cord that never stops feeding data back to the source. When you don't own the product owns your behavior. Every time you open an app, every mile you drive in a leased car, and every page you turn on a digital reader is a data point harvested to refine the algorithm of your own exploitation. They are not just renting you a service, they are monitoring your compliance. If the lords of the cloud decide that your behavior is no longer profitable, or if your social credit score dips below a certain threshold, they can sever the connection. Imagine waking up to find that your front door won't unlock because of an update in the terms of service. Imagine your digital library vanishing because you expressed an opinion that violated a corporate policy. When you own nothing, you have no sanctuary. Your home, your tools, and even your history become conditional. This is the quiet control, a world where there are no visible cages, only invisible permissions. We are trading the friction of ownership for the convenience of a prison where the bars are made of code. The psychological toll is a slow, creeping sense of weightlessness. Without the anchor of physical possession, we become untethered from our own lives. We are wandering through a landscape of temporary pixels, constantly refreshing the page to ensure we still have access to our own existence. The corporations know that a man who owns his land is a man who can say no. But a man who is dependent on a dozen different subscriptions just to function in society is a man who must always say yes. They are building a world where dissent is a luxury you can no longer afford. They are reclaiming the concept of the individual and replacing it with the concept of the active user. A user is a data stream. A user is a revenue source. A user is someone who can be deactivated. We are being trained to accept that our presence in the modern world is a privilege, not a right. And the price of that privilege is everything you thought you owned. The machine is not here to serve you, it is here to manage you. And management requires the total elimination of your autonomy. The choice before us is not between technology and the past, but between autonomy and total dependency. We are standing at a crossroads where one path leads to a frictionless prison and the other leads back to the difficult, necessary friction of freedom. To reclaim ownership is to reclaim your humanity. It starts with the realization that every time you choose convenience over possession, you are selling a piece of your future self. We must begin to value the physical again. Buy the book, own the disc, build your own server, support the creators who allow you to keep what you pay for. The resistance against the end of ownership is not a movement of Luddites, it is a movement of architects who refuse to live in buildings they don't own. It is about demanding the right to repair, not just for our devices, but for our lives. We must stop being users and start being owners once more. This requires effort. It requires us to embrace the maintenance, the clutter, and the responsibility that comes with true possession. Because property is more than just stuff. It is a shield against the overreach of the machine. The corporations are betting that you are too tired, too distracted, and too addicted to the now to fight for your forever. They want you to believe that ownership is a relic of the 20th century. They want you to believe that happiness is found in a stream of temporary permissions. But happiness without security is a hallucination. True security comes from the things that cannot be deleted, deactivated, or updated by a remote authority. Look around your digital world. What would be left if the power went out? What would remain if the company that hosts your life went bankrupt tomorrow? If the answer is nothing, then you are not living a life. You are hosting a ghost. The algorithm wants you to keep scrolling, to keep subscribing, and to keep surrendering. But the leash only works if you keep walking. You can choose to stop. You can choose to own. You can choose to be the master of your own tools again. The machine is waiting for your next payment, but the world is waiting for your awakening. Ownership is the last line of defense for the individual. If we lose it, we lose the right to be free. The question is no longer what they are selling you. The question is, what are you willing to take back? Wake up, reclaim your world, before the concept of mine disappears forever.